how did we help them assess that impact and the decision to pivot on the design for the workstation migration was the client's technical team and their technical leadership initially preferred to use autopilot for the workstation migration. Which I mentioned previously, we had thoroughly reviewed and discussed and had them approve that migration strategy and design. However, during our testing, as we were getting ready to start planning and schedule out our pilot, the broader business stakeholders were briefed on what their users should expect and really what our schedule and impact looked like. They realized that the impact of that autopilot migration and how the end user experience may go was a little bit more than they're willing to bear, and asked their leadership and ultimately our project team to consider some less intrusive approaches if possible, while still trying to achieve that same goal of a greenfield domain consolidation. So we ended up working closely with the clients to compare what options, outlining some key trade-offs and what those options were. Autopilot ultimately was meant to give them a fresh start without the possible legacy technical debt that may come from 5 unique migrations, and is obviously a Microsoft supported and influenced approach there, but likely would have required a bit more post-migration support. The other option that we ended up presenting to them as an alternative was to leverage Quest and ODM, which would fully automate and maintain some of the profiles from that perspective, but ran the risks potentially for some of those legacy configurations that IT was somewhat afraid of being brought over with that new design. And also that approach would require us to enter in and kind of go back to a design and discovery phase to reshape what that migration would look like. So by ultimately presenting on those factors, the client had to, we helped them evaluate short and long-term options, what the disruption would be like, while also keeping IT's goals in mind, to make sure that they were making a well-informed and strategic decision, ultimately settling on the change to the migration strategy, and that was to leverage Quest for the migration of those machines.